Good afternoon, good morning, good evening. Welcome back to Football Heritage TV in this season, the season that keeps giving. It keeps giving as my pug has decided to bark at something just as we start a show. Yes, we can hear you. Now shut up. Welcome, Stel. How are we doing on this wet, miserable Wednesday afternoon?
Yeah, not too bad. You know, whenever I get asked that question, your immediate thought is just say, yeah, okay, all good. We're deep down. This club is so crap. It's such a shit football club right now. And this Europa Cup is given the biggest excuse to accept what's going on. It's almost like when you play Monopoly and you get the get out of jail free card. That's what it is.
Yeah.
Just get out of jail free. Yeah, look, Sav, it's all right, but just supporting this club is awful. Just terrible supporting.
Yeah, it's hard work.
It's so much about it stinks that I pretend when I say yeah, all good. It's not good. Tottenham is not good. It simply isn't. But you got to laugh.
Good, but we're good, right? Like we're good. Like you're okay.
Yeah, of course.
Oh, you're healthy, right? Yeah. Listen, all right. Well, I could listen. It's going to be like that next year as well. So get used to it. You've been getting used to it for 40 odd years now. So this shouldn't be a shock. By the way, please, if you haven't subscribed to Tottenham Away, please go and subscribe to Tottenham Away. If you haven't subscribed to me, please do. Everyone's chasing down their own milestones. Jesus, Wes Brown is on Sky Sports. He looks different. He looks older and with a beard. Talking about old people with beards, that's what Stel and I are. We're here to answer some questions. Stel, just before we get going, sometimes you get situations that sum up a club. And this is it. We had it earlier in the season, didn't we, where we lost 1-0 to Palace, then beat Man City 4-0. This week we've had it. A terrible performance at Wolves, followed by a good performance against Frankfurt, followed by a whatever that performance was against Nottingham Forest, where we're 2-0 down in 15 minutes. Nothing's ever going to change, is it? Nothing's changing. Nothing.
No, we're going to continue being like this in the league. We're not going to beat Liverpool on the weekend. And we've got Aston Villa away at some point. I don't see us winning that. West Ham away, banana skin. Palace at home, you'd like to think we could get a result, but Palace, Glasner, you don't know what you're going to get. Brighton at home, Brighton have done pretty well against us the last couple of years. I think the league, I actually believe we're going to finish 17th this season now. I think Spurs will finish 17th. All eggs are in the basket of Europa. Most fans expect us to get past Bodo. They think, you know what, we got this. I'm not convinced. I'm sure we'll get into it. And then if we do, we've got a final from hell. Either the home team in their hometown, in their home stadium, or a club we've never beaten in a final ever, Man United, who have got the heritage and they've proven even when they're crap, they win trophies. So whatever happens,
yeah,
if we get to that final, my God, we're up against it. But look, let's get to the final first. But the league, for me, it's an absolute waste of time now. The players don't seem to be 100% on it. They don't even seem to be 100% good enough. Ange won't adapt or change. He'll just keep doing what he does in the league. And I don't believe any of the teams remaining that we will beat. Maybe Palace at home, but the rest I don't think we'll beat.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. And I think it's so sad, isn't it, that going into a semi-final, kind of given up on everything. Like, you know, there's a lot of debate at the moment. I'm sure you saw me and James Flower have a debate the other day about what do we do for the last games of the season. For me, I'm looking at it going, well, other clubs are in semi-finals and quarterfinals and stuff, and they're not giving up. We seem to have accepted as a fan base that, yeah, don't worry about it. We'll just go for the Europa and switch it on and off like a light bulb. Listen, we will get to as many questions as possible. There's a lot of questions going in today. I've already seen someone say that you and I are like the hail and pace of Tottenham YouTube. I'll take that because my mum was actually friends with Pace's family growing up, so I'll take it. I liked Hale and Pace. Have to say that we were friends with a family. Yeah. But listen, Stel, let's start as we mean to go on. Let's get to a question, shall we? And look, it is what it is. Again, as I said, James, did we build momentum? I wouldn't have changed the 11. I would have kept the 11 and built momentum. Can't keep changing it every single week. You're not going to build up momentum like that. Let's go to some questions. Guys and girls, I think you can stop putting them in, to be honest. There is absolutely loads. Big up to you all, James. It was you talking about Hale and Pace. Showing your age there, James. Showing your age. The old Hale and Pace. Right, let's get to the first question, Stel. Rob. Atwell Spur, big up to Rob. How you doing? Hope you're well. Said, if you could delete one thing from football so it's never seen again, what would it be apart from VAR? So one thing you can get rid of from football as a whole.
Special fans. To quote Scott M, special fans. What are special fans? Fans that follow managers, not football clubs. So Mourinho and his Jose sexuals, and his Ange cult. I want to get rid of football managers that have cult followings that hijack a fan base for the period that managers in charge and make ridiculous online videos, post stupid things on Twitter, and try to bluff a fan base about a manager. Yeah. We can see with our own eyes what's going on with the chairman, with the recruitment, with the manager, with the coaches, with the tactics, with the subs, you name it, we can see it. I don't need a cult following to tell me what's what. And I don't need a cult following to tell me about my club when I'm here 24/7, decade after decade after decade. Not these one stop, I'll be here for 2 minutes, tell you about your club and your manager. I would get rid of special fans. I don't see the benefit of them other than to make it worse than what it is.
Yeah, listen, I'll go along with that answer as well. But just to give a spin, I would get rid of Angepostecoglou out of football entirely. Surely at his age, he just wants to go and retire now and not think that he's cool enough to try and reinvent a football will, so to speak. And that's quite a good one, Henry Von TV. Yeah, robotic wingers. I'm guessing robotic wingers are born out of robotic tactics, right? I'm guessing that all of these wingers didn't grow up inverting in and playing that way, but I completely agree with you. Big up to the question, Henry Fong TV. I said, do you think Danso should be in Romero's position and use the money from his transfer and invest elsewhere, or buy a like-for-like replacement? Lots of talk about Romero going. Stelios, lots of talk. I, for one,
he's gone.
I'm not bothered.
He's gone.
I'm not bothered. But great question. Let me rephrase the question, Stel, for you. If Romero goes and we don't make Champions League, is there a need to reinvest his money at centre-back when you've got Dragusin, Van der Ven, Danso, Vuskovic, Phillips, Davis? Is that how many centre-halves can you have?
I'll be honest with you here. I couldn't care less if any single player from this squad left. There's not one player, and I mean that, there's not one player that I would really, really be upset if we lost. As in, what? Kane's gone. What? Moussa Dembele? Ericsson? I don't feel like that for any single player. If we lost Vicario and Van der Ven, it wouldn't bother me. If we lost Maddison, it wouldn't bother me. Do you know why, guys? Because I don't think there's a single player at Spurs who I would put on the back of a jersey if I bought a Spurs kit. There's not a single player that I'd put on the back of the kit. And that's how I feel. I don't think any of them... I don't think they're all rubbish or average. I think Van der Ven's good. I think Maddison's good. I think Vicario is a good shot stopper. But I don't think we've got a single player that can be replaced. That is not irreplaceable. I think we can actually replace every single player in this squad right now. So to answer your question, mate, I couldn't care less. including Romero, because I think they're all replaceable. Because the Premier League teams from 5th place, even down to the relegation teams, have got players in their squad I would take. So, for example, Ipswich, I'd take Delap over Richarlison and Solanke all day long. So, if I can take from Ipswich, that means I can take from the rest. And I think I could build a better squad from all the other teams. Take Man City and Arsenal and Liverpool out of the equation. I could build a better squad with players from all the other teams, and that includes at centre-back as well.
But would you replace Romero? I mean, I would you replace?
Yeah, I would,
him?
because he doesn't want to be here, Savva. He doesn't want to be here.
No. But what I mean is, if he goes, I feel like, look, getting Danso in, right? I know everything we talk about is a caveat still, right? Because I truly believe that if you've got one game a week and your 3 first-choice centre-backs are Danso, Dragashin and Van de Ven with a couple of youngsters coming through, I don't think you need more centre-halves, you know? I don't think we need to. I think there's a lot more pressing issues at the club. But if you're in the Champions League, now we've got a different conversation because we've got more games.
It depends. If we're going to actually play Phillips and play Vuskovic, then no, I wouldn't, because you've bought players in for that role. If you're going to keep Danzo, so essentially you've got Van de Ven, Danzo, Dragusin, Vuskovic, Phillips. Surely between those 5, there's a combination of 2 that can do a good job in a good system with a 6 in front of them. So on that basis, no, I wouldn't replace him. I'd use the money and buy a proper number 6 if we're not going to play Archie Gray there and see if he can do it or not. I'd buy a proper number 6, like a Casado, like a Declan Rice, like a I forgot his name, the guy that got injured for Man City. Rodri, a Zubamendi. I'd buy someone that can play in that role instead. I think that's far more important for Spurs, assuming we play a tactic that uses a 6, though.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I completely agree with you. I think listen, a good manager can make a good pairing, right? If Everton cannot lose that many games with their squad, right, and be hard to beat, no one's going to tell me that we can't do that with the players that we've got. So I completely agree with you, Stel. Look, let's go. Yeah, anybody that compared VDV and Romero to Vertonghen and Toby clearly didn't watch Vertonghen and Toby. They were levels away. They were absolute. I don't think I ever watched a game with Spurs, those 2 playing, and came off and said, God, I don't care if Yang goes. I don't care if Toby goes. I was gutted that they got old. I was gutted that they got to that age where they had to go. Let's get to the next question. Still, I've seen one from my.
I think Jan Vertonghen's my favourite ever centre back, more than Ledley King.
Really?
Yeah, I thought he was a complete footballer. He was good on the ball. He could beat a man. He could defend. He was good in the air. I don't ever remember him giving a penalty away or getting sent off. Jan Vertonghen, for me, is one of the best left-sided centre-backs I've ever seen play for Spurs, in my opinion.
A class player. See, when people it's always like we've got to pick a favourite, and people always went, Yang or Toby. First and foremost, I'll say, what a pairing. Like, they complemented each other brilliantly. I preferred Toby, but not because I didn't think Jan was class. I just loved Toby. But you're right. Vertonghen was a brilliant left-sided centre-back. And for me, he'd be one of the best 2 centre-backs in the league right now, probably just behind Virgil van Dijk, if we're going to be brutally honest, who's for me, a different breed. Like, he's different. But let's get to big up to Anthony Clark with a super sticker, always with a super stickers, my man. Thank you very much. Always appreciated. Thank you very much. And for anybody that hasn't subscribed, please subscribe to Tottenham Away. Thanks, Anthony. Please subscribe to myself. We're only 6 subscribers now from 17,400. So please do smash that button. And Tottenham Away chasing down 35. Is it 35,000?
Yeah, I think we're like 20 subs away. We'll get it at some point. Next week, this week.
Guys, 20 subs. I'm sure you've all subscribed anyway. Here's my mate, Phil Coys. Oh, God, we go head to head. For Stel, I already know Salah's answer. In the knockout stages, do you think it's been an easy run if we go on to lift the trophy. AZ, Frankfurt, Bodo, and United Bilbao. Is there such a thing as an easy run? I won't talk.
In all the years we've got to semi-finals of any European competition or finals, this is the easiest run we've ever had. No doubt. The only hard game, real tough game on paper is going to be that final. Because United is United. They've got heritage. They've got history. They've been there. They've done it, good or bad. Bilbao are a good team in their home ground as well. I thought Frankfurt would be a tough game, but Frankfurt weren't that good. After watching them, they weren't that good. So
I don't think they were.
I don't think that was a tough game. Although I am going to say, I really believe we're underestimating Bodo Glimt. I've got a dodgy feeling about this one. I really do, and I've had this feeling for a while about a team we'd come up against, and I think it's going to be this lot. The reality is what the teams you might say are good are Rangers. Only because they challenged for the Scottish League. We couldn't beat them. Roma couldn't beat them. And they were 12th when we played them. Galatasaray, we got bad. Should have been 10-2. Right? They destroyed us. Yeah. And Frankfurt, who we beat thanks to a penalty. So overall, we haven't really... There's not been one European night I've watched and said, wow. Other than when we beat Effersborg and the kids came on. And the kids came on, and for 20 minutes, they lit up the stage. Other than those 20 minutes, it's been a pretty average performing campaign, but the competition hasn't been that good. So the final for me, will, if we get there, that's going to be tough, regardless of what happens. That will be tough. But the semis, we've got the easiest draw in the semis. Out of Atletico, United and Bodo, I think we've got the easiest draw.
Oh, for sure. Listen, I think he was hoping that you might go different to me. I've just said, look, when people are going, oh my God, Ange deserves to be in the job. He's kept it. We're in the semi-finals. We bloody well should be in the semi-finals. We haven't done anything of note. Like, you're right. Still, when we got to the Champions League final, I remember en route, we played Barcelona, Inter Milan, Dortmund, Ajax, Man City, right? And that's where you turn around and go, well, that's not a fluke. That's not an easy run. You've beaten some of, you've played Europe's elite. Right now, the best team we have beaten is Frankfurt. And as you said, I wasn't impressed. This is a Frankfurt team that lost their best player a couple of months before we played them. I think it's been very, very easy. I think this manager is, honestly, I would say 9 lives like a cat. I reckon he's got the whole cat sanctuary together, all of their lives. He's had it so easy. So easy.
Do you remember when Mourinho was the manager and he got to the Carabao Cup final and fans said, oh, but look how easy the run is. It masks over the cracks. And I said, but all right, we beat Chelsea. And they said, oh, but that was only on penalties. I said, okay, but we still beat Chelsea now. Yeah, but look at the other teams we played. They're all easy teams. Why isn't that being said about this campaign? Why is it when Mourinho was the manager? Do you know how I feel as if we're not judging on what we see. We're judging on how we feel about the manager. Yeah. I can. He's all right. Yeah. I don't like Mourinho. No, he's horrible. So therefore, I've got to diminish it. Whereas with Ange, I've got to sprinkle some stardust on the shit because I like Ange. The campaign to get to the Carabao Cup final and the campaign to get to the semi-final is pretty similar in terms of how difficult it was. Yet we treat them both differently. That makes no sense.
Mate, I completely agree. I feel like the copium going on right now in our fan base is amazing. Like, I don't know what, like whenever I have the chat with Phil Coys, I don't know what's so difficult for him to turn around and go, yeah, it's been an easy run. We should be there. For me, I said the other day, we should be in the final. And it's not me knocking Bodo Glimt still. But if Spurs get to a final, if Spurs get to a semi-final of a Europa League, play a team that they are awful away, by the way. They are very bad away, very good at home. If we get Bodo Glimt and don't make a European final, I'm going to chuck the word out there that I know many don't like. It will be the most Spursy thing ever. You can't not get to the final with the run we've had. We've had no obstacles in our way at all. There's been no obstacles. Like he's chucking AZ Alkmaar in there. I mean, AZ Alkmaar's best striker is Troy Parrott, who can't score goals for Millwall, for Ipswich, for MK Dons. And we're talking about
we played teams like Ferencváros and teams like Hoffenheim, Hoffenheim are getting relegated. Ferencváros are nobodies, and we made it look like such hard work, hanging on, clinging on for dear life. We haven't been good. Look, Phil Coys, because he's in my group chat as well. He's a good guy. I like Phil, but he is one of the deluded angeposexuals that tries to put a positive spin on what has been nothing short of the most disastrous season.
But then pretends
in the last 30 years.
But then pretends he's Ange out after backing everything he does. Everything we do, he's brilliant. And he's like, yeah, but Ange out. Like, what? I love him. He is funny, but I'm sure he'll bite back.
But you know when fans look, because Phil's saying it. We did predict we would lose to Frankfurt away. The reality is this: they missed all their chances. They completely screwed it up. For the last 20 minutes in Frankfurt, they were all over us. They pinned us back. Poor defending gave them the chances. They messed every single chance up. And the reality is, we got away with it. The argument is going to be, but they got away with it when they came to our ground, but they messed up a lot of counter-attacking chances as well. So I think we went through when we expected to go out, but that was more because of Frankfurt than us doing anything special. I don't think we played particularly great in Frankfurt. I thought Frankfurt, as soon as Götze went off, they lost their talisman in midfield, and they lost him after 5 minutes. So they lost a lot of impetus in the game. And then as the game went on, it was pretty much a dogged, fighty, scrappy, battling game. And I think because fans saw Tottenham actually fight and put some grit into the game, they called it a good performance. It wasn't a good performance. We just put up a fight. That's all it was. We put up a fight.
And I think everyone went doolally about it. As I said, I think he got it right on the night. I will never knock that. But that's how teams play most weeks still. Our fan base went over the top as though, oh my God, it's the masterclass of all masters. What, you mean because we actually had a back four for the night and 2 DMs? Like, we actually set up like a football team for once. But look, let's go on to the next question. I'll say this. If Tottenham win this Europa League, the toughest team we're going to have to beat is either Bilbao, and that'll be a good win if we beat Bilbao, or Man United, who, let's not forget, people, are 14th in the Premier League. Right? That's as tough as it's got for Spurs. That's as tough as it's got. Frankfurt are decent, but I'm not going to go overboard. Right. Let's go to the next question, shall we? It's my face who said, would going back to Poch be a mistake? Should we look forwards, not backwards? And would he actually make Spurs great again? Or is it just dreaming from fans that have a Poch crush?
It's a good question. I personally would have Poch back because he can coach youngsters and he can actually structure a team correctly, and he'll definitely make us much, much better. But we're going to have the exact same problem again with Poch if he's not given the players that he needs to put the furniture in the new house. We're going to be back to square one eventually. Having said that, I would rather Poch come back to Spurs under a new ownership, because I think Poch, 1, he wants to be at Spurs, 2, he'll give it his all, and 3, he loves the club. And these are important factors, and he will give everything he's got to it. But he'll just get levied again. So whilst Levy is the chairman, I'd rather give it to someone like Glasner and replace the coaching team. Let Glasner pick his coaches. Get rid of Mason as well. Get rid of Jedinak. Get rid of Lange, Munn. Just clear it all out and let a proper football director and a proper recruitment team, proper coaches and a proper manager do the job. And I think that's probably a better approach right now where we are. I think Poch coming back now, the expectations will go through the roof, and will just buckle under that pressure of high expectation. There'll be a media frenzy. All the rival clubs will be expecting us to do the same as we did before. We are not going to do what we did before under Poch with this squad. No chance. Mm-hmm. But we're better than what Ange is doing, 100%. I think it just needs a fresh face. But a fresh face means get rid of the entire coaching team. Ryan Mason must not be part of this club anymore. He's been here for the last 7 managers and it's failed. He's clearly not up to it either. And Lange is a shocking recruitment officer. Mm-hmm. One of the worst we've ever had. You know, he's brainwashed fans into thinking Tell's a good idea. Where are we? Do you know, I don't understand how we're tolerating these crap transfers. I don't understand how we're suddenly accepting Solankis and Tells and...
I've never known anything like it, Stel. I feel like when I'm debating these people, I'm getting a bit dumber by the day. Now, listen, I wasn't the greatest person at school, but my grades are good, right? My grammar's good. You know, I can string sentences together. I had a good job, you know. But when I talk to these people, I just sit there and think, Savva, you're dumb. Like, you're getting dumber, Savva. Like, I forget words, right? I forget proper sentences, and I start saying things like, I ain't clever, you know, instead of I'm not clever, you know. But these people, they're not getting it. We just talked about this in the WhatsApp group, Stel. Like, people want to sign Matisse Tell. There'll be the same people next season when we're not at the top end of the table saying, yeah, but Daniel Levy hasn't given the managers what they need. Well, if that's the case, if you truly believe that, don't pine after players like Tell. Tell is a young player that could be, I'll sit here right now, Stel, it's 2025. 2028, we could all be sitting here going, cool, look how good Tell turned out. But right now, we don't need any more what could be. We don't need any more with the right coach we can develop X, Y, Z. We need some players. I want an Mbuemo. I want a Semenyo. I want a Vissa, a Mitoma. And notice the players I'm mentioning still, I'm not going to the upper echelons of world football. I'm not saying, oh, I want Ousmane Dembele of PSG. I'm not saying I want Rafinha and Yamal of Barcelona. I'm talking about players there I mentioned from Brighton, right? I want players from Brighton, Bournemouth, Brentford. This is where we should be after. But we've got fans that go, yeah, Matisse Tell. You just sent in the group the poll, whichever channel it was that put a poll out for, do you want to make Tell a permanent signing? And thousands saying, yes. There'll be the same ones next year going, Savva, what do you expect of this new manager, whoever it is? He's not been backed. Mate, it blows my mind. It blows my mind still.
I don't think Tell's going to become a top player. I don't. Anyone that wears a bandage on their arm for show, where's your head at? Why do you need to? Why did your image need to be important when you're on the pitch? And we need blood, sweat, and tears, skill, talent, and ability. I don't care about your image. I don't care. I will take the ugliest looking, zero dress sense footballer if he can play football. I really couldn't care. I just want to see a footballer. Tell cares more about his image than he does about his football. He will not become a top footballer. Not in my view. Not in my view. I don't think up here that's where his head's at.
I just look at it from the point of view, and again, it's
nothing
against Tell.
You'll be all right.
Nothing against Tell, but you already had Odegaard, right? Who you just spent £30 million. I had 30 million pounds. You've already got Mikey Moore. You got Yang out on loan at QPR. Yet the attacking reinforcement.
We've still got Solomon as well. We've still got Solomon.
Yeah, we've still got Solomon. We've still got Hill. Right, but the attacking reinforcement we've gone and got in the January window to help is another. Be patient, Savva. Give them time. No, I'm not giving time to a player that we spend 50 million on. If we do, I'm just not doing it.
See, when fans do this, they're being very disingenuous. There is no time for Tell. He's come on a loan deal. The loan is till the end of the season. The season ends in 5 weeks' time. He's been here for over 2.5 months. He has shown us nothing. So in 2.5 months that he's been here, he's got 5 weeks left before it's over. He's come here to impact now, to add value now, to change our fortunes now. He hasn't come here to develop, give him time, be patient, judge him in 2 years like Graham Bergvall and all the others because we signed them for 4 or 5 years. He's come here for a 6-month loan to do a job now. There is no patience and give him time. This is the most disingenuous comeback from our fan base who are masking what a failure this loan signing is. He hasn't delivered. He's not delivering. He's missing easy chances. He doesn't create assists. And in 5 weeks' time, the season's over. That's it for him. Then we've got to decide bye-bye or 50 million. So what is this patience conversation about? Where does it come from? What's it based on? He's not here for us to be patient. He's not a long-term deal. He's here for the now. I don't understand why fans are saying, but he's only 19, then don't sign him. If he can't impact now, don't sign him.
Exactly. Another one.
Kinski's son, but he signed a 3-year deal. He's here potentially to be the backup to Vicario. I understand it. Maybe I would have not wasted the money on that because we've already got goalies. But if you're not signing a player for the long term, they're here for 5. Well, he's only going to play for Spurs for 4 months, Tel. So what are we waiting for? What is it exactly we've got to be patient about?
Yeah, listen, I agree. But, I mean, when we're saying Tel is a top character, look, when are we going to... This is what drives me mad. I think this... Is this Alex, who comes on the show?
Alex, you were cussing Tel on my channel on Monday night.
But Stel, do you know my problem with this? Every time we talk about a player, we never seem to talk about performances. We always talk about potential, character, coaching. When are we going to turn around and go, you know what? Like, wouldn't it be nice, Stel, for all of us to have seen so much in Tel in the last 10, 15 games that we all go, oh my God, yes. Like, yes, you look at the impact. Yes. You've got to sign him. Like right now, an Aston Villa fan I saw last night live on a YouTube show turned around and said, whatever you think of Rashford at Man United, he's come in and he's been brilliant for Villa. He's been absolutely brilliant. He's up for it. He's scoring goals. He's getting assists. He's leading the line. He's put Watkins on the bench. I get it when the Aston Villa fans are saying, I want Marcus Rashford. I haven't seen any of this from Tel. And yet we've got fans going, yeah, get him in. That's the levels. And this is Villa. Stel, don't call you Tel now. This is Villa. This is Aston Villa, who, when we were in the Champions League final, they were in the playoff final. And yet 6 years later, they're talking about signing Asensio and Rashford. We're talking about signing Matisse Tel. That's the levels of the two clubs now, and the level of mentality of the fan base.
Yeah. And they say things like, but he's only 19. So what's the point? What is the argument? He's only 19. Look at Nyanweri at Arsenal. How old is he? Look at Skelly at Arsenal. How old is he? They're impacting Arsenal. They're on the pitch beating Real Madrid.
Yeah.
What are we doing? The age argument must stop. If you're going to play every single week, you must impact the performances. Unless you are on a long-term contract and we are developing you to get to that place in a couple of years' time.
Yeah.
But Tel is neither. He's not here on a long-term contract and he's not impacting the team. So what is Tel? And people have the audacity, the downright low standards to say, yeah, you know what? I think we should sign Tel for 50 million. What fucking planet are we on? Kvaratskhelia went for just over 50 million to PSG. Doué was 50 million. Where are we getting? We as a fan base have lost sense of all reality. You know that. We've completely lost the plot. We don't know what we're talking about. We have no idea what we're talking about anymore.
I'm keeping receipts for next season, right? I'm not somebody who normally does this receipts game. I'm keeping receipts still because all these same people that were telling me I'm a negative fan and we're going to finish in the top 3 or 4, watch Ange go, are the same fans now telling me the squad isn't good enough, right? I've got YouTubers that I work with, Stel, that are my friends and that I work with, suddenly going, yeah, but Savvy weren't backed. Hang on. I've got videos of you lot predicting 3rd in the Premier League table. So you thought he wasn't backed that much that you thought only 2 Premier League clubs would finish above us. Look, let's get to another question. Thank you very much for all the comments so far. By the way, we have got like ratios on the likes. There are 478 of you in here and counting, 135 likes. Utterly disgusting, guys. Come on. We have got a super sticker from Man United Fan for Life. Welcome in the bottom half of the table, Man United Fan for Life. And we might see you in Bilbao. Thank you very much for that. Big up to Rob Frank, who's become a new member. Big up to you, Rob. Hope you're doing well, my friend. Thank you for the continued support. I think that's it. If I've missed any, someone let me know. Randomly, let's go with this one. Here we go. So Glenn Hoddle 11. We have completed our rebuild and we're 16th. Are we the new Everton? Now, Stel, what I think is hilarious about this is the number of Ange fans that say to me, it's a rebuild. But 2 years into the 4-year rebuild, there's now only 4 teams worse than us. And it would have been 3 if Southampton hadn't got an equaliser in the 93rd minute against West Ham. That's where our rebuild is, Stel.
I don't know what people want me to say. There's no rebuild because we never built in the first place. We've never built anything. There's no rebuild. We just... Look, I said it the day we re-signed Werner. I said everything I needed to say then, and it's all come true. So, what do you want me to say? The entire season depends on the Europa. If we don't win the Europa, it is the most disastrous season in 30 plus years. If we don't win the Europa, this is the most disastrous season in 30 plus years. That's what we've built. That's what we've built.
Completely agree with you. Yeah, listen, just to sum up your Glenn Hoddle 11, there's no such thing as a rebuild. These are buzzwords that fans use. I completely agree with you, Rumble. I was actually watching Lee Gunner last night debating a gal. Brilliant TV it was. And he said, isn't it funny how people only mention a player's age when they're not performing? And he's spot on. No one's watching Yamal and going, oh, but he's young. They're watching him and going, look at this kid, rip it up. No one's watching Lewis Skelly, like you said. No one was watching Gavi and Pedri at 18 going, oh, look how young. It's always used for when a player isn't performing. Maybe, just maybe, if we don't hype these people up out of oblivion, they won't be judged so harshly. But thank you very much. Really appreciate that. Let's have a look. Here's a good one from Andy Lester. So would you guys take McKenna from Ipswich? I think some of their pattern of play has been decent when I have seen them. I reckon I know your answer, Stel, but is McKenna the level that we need? Is that belittling him? What do you reckon?
The amount of times Ipswich have gone 2-0 up or 1-0 up in a game and then they blow it is unbelievable. He doesn't have the defensive nous in game management for me. He doesn't have that. He can't hold on to a lead. And that is a problem, especially at Spurs. So my answer is no.
Could that be personnel, though, Stel? Just to play devil's advocate, could that be that the players he's got players like O'Shea, Jake, Greaves, he's got Burgess. These players were in League One 18, 20 months ago. So could it be personnel?
No. He just doesn't know how to shut down a game. They keep going for it. They keep going. They're a very attacking team. But they're a bit like, I was going to say Luton Town last year. They're not like Luton Town. Luton Town were just gun-ho. They were nuts. I just, part of it, yes, but it's happened too often. it's happened too often for me where you're good enough to defend when you're taking the lead. Now the pressure's on. Can you keep that lead? And they just crumble. I think his next step should be to go to a mid-table Premier League club. Go and join someone who's. I was saying that we're mid-table. Fuck me.
Come to Spurs.
Maybe
mid-table.
Maybe we should take McKenna. Oh,
we're not mid-table.
Yeah, we're below the table. I think he needs to go to a Premier League club. He needs to go to a Premier League club that is not a big club, but they stay in the Premier League quite often and just establish that he can manage a Premier League season for 2 or 3 seasons in a row and then look to make the leap. I think that would be like Eddie Howe. He did the business at Bournemouth, came up with Bournemouth, did well, and then he made the leap to a bigger club. I think McKenna needs to follow Eddie Howe's pathway before he comes to Spurs.
He's only 2 places behind the footballing genius that is Angepostecoglou, and they've only lost 2 games less than us. Look at it. He'd only be making the jump up 2 places.
Yeah. You know, listen, there's an argument to be had. There's a massive debate to be had. I think for him, the pressure of coming to Spurs will be too big. He needs to spend a good 2-3 years in the Premier League as a manager and then come. Otherwise, it's going to be like Ange. Oh, but he did something all right then, and he comes to Spurs and it's a disaster. I want someone that's got pedigree behind them. That's why I like Glasner. He's got pedigree.
Phil, this is what I mean though. Why? Even at 30 million, why? My question still stands, whether it's 10 million or 30 million or 50 million. Why? You've got Odegaard. You've got Mikey Moore. We've signed Yang. Why do we need another one? Because what would happen is we'd spend 30 million on him, and then you turn around and say something like, can't believe we haven't signed a DM. Well, yeah, because we're buying yet another winger. Doesn't make sense, mate. It doesn't make sense. Questions. Dale always has a pop at me. I'm going to bring it up and hope that this is a nice one. Big up to you, Dale. Said, I'm aware both of you guys are militant and out. But can you picture a world, I feel like this might be a one-word answer, where he does learn and adapt, win the Europa League and somehow turn this circus around?
I'm not militant and out. I want him out because he's rubbish, and he's been rubbish all year. And every stat that is negative, he's smashed it out the park. And I appreciate your militant, intolerant to an alternative opinion, but that doesn't make me militant as well, right? You need to look at your emotions before you describe mine. But can you picture a world where he doesn't learn and adapt? No, because he's had 30 years to learn and adapt. He's never done it. And if you think he's going to suddenly do it now, it's delusional. Mm-hmm. Could he win the Europa Cup? Yeah, he can. Will he? I don't think he will.
Can I just answer that question with one word? It's a small word. It's 2 letters. No. I can't imagine a world where he turns his circus round. Winning the Europa League, I can say this until I'm blue in the face still. Winning the Europa League with the fixtures he's had doesn't change for me that this is going to be the worst season in Premier League history for us. Right? And let's show a few people. I'm sure some of you, if any of you watched my video from earlier with George, please apologies, you're going to see this again. But let's have a look at a few things, shall we? So let's start with the easy one, Stel. You can see there that we're 1 defeat away from equaling the record. Now, I don't really count the 93-94 season, Stel, because that was a 42-game season. But we are on for 19 defeats, definitely, on Sunday.
Is George Ange in or Ange out?
George is Ange out now.
Oh, he's woken up.
Most sensible people have got there. They've got there by hook or crook.
Because I'm asking because he was one of the YouTubers that was calling out people like me for being Ange out. So I'm glad that he's woken up.
He's Ange out. But again, look, I mean, if we put this very thing up on Monday, it could be that this is at number one, by the way, people. And it won't be that this is at number one and the season's ended. This will be at number one with 4 games to go and the trip to Villa Park. Villa haven't lost at Villa Park for, I think, is it 19 games?
We are going to lose over 20 games, Savva. It's going to happen.
I hear you. I mean, so we'll look at that one, right? And then if we look at this, this is what Nizar Kinsella said earlier. He said Spurs need to avoid several unwanted records in their 5 remaining matches. 1, they need to avoid losing 2 more games to not have their most defeats in a single season. 2, they need 8. This is bloody hilarious, this one. They need 8 more points to surpass their worst points total in the Premier League era. Stel, that's 8 points from 5 games that include Liverpool, West Ham and Villa away, Brighton and Palace at home. And then 3, they've already suffered their most home defeats in a 38-game season, but another 2 would surpass their worst total in a 44-game season. When you read that, Stel, when we can all have our opinions, right, mate? We can all talk about it. When you see it written down in black and white, doesn't the magnitude of how shit this manager has been really jump off the page at you? Like, how is that not hitting every Spurs fan? Every Spurs fan right now in the world should be looking at that and going, bloody hell, we're shit. But they're not. They're backing him. Just be better fans. Stop being fair weather fans.
Because the fan base has been hijacked by these woke mediocrity, accepting everything's wonderful, nothing can be wrong, just say all the right things, even though the things you're saying don't make sense. We've been hijacked. The club, and that's why I don't want special fans at the club anymore. I want to get rid of the special fans. Once they're gone, we might have a football fan base back. Right now, we've got people that they say things so that they can be invited into WhatsApp groups. They say things so that they're allowed to do collaborations. They say things so that they're invited on all the right shows. They say things so that they can get access to journalists, get called up by TalkSport, Sky Sports. They say things because it sounds right. They don't say things because that's what they truly know and that's what they truly believe. You know, you can either say it as it is or tell people what they want to hear. And what people want to hear is fake positivity and they give them what they want. That's the fan base we've become. I'm surrounded by them in the stadium. When I go there, I got shouted at. I got shouted at so many times when I started screaming at Ange in the terraces. I got told off. No one tells me off now. Not a single soul tells me off because they know that someone will shout back at them on my behalf because they've had enough as well. And it's like that in the stadium. That's why there's no atmosphere in the stadium, Savva. There's no atmosphere. It's dead. The club is dead because our fans are dead like that. Unfortunately, there's a handful of fans. I'd say maybe a third of fans that get it. They're like us. The majority, be under no illusion. They still think Ange can work. They still think Tell's going to be brilliant. They still rate Solanke. They still think Levy's doing a great job. The majority are clinically deranged. They're mental, man. Right? It is what it is. You just got to accept it and just do what we do.
Do you know what?
That's how it is. We can't change that.
I'll tell you what I find absolutely hilarious. I watch all this content that comes up now. Like, fair play. Like, when Abby Summers has got her show on TalkSport, and I see the guests that she has on, right? And I see all these guests now, right, that are talking about, it's been really poor, and the manager's not been backed and all this. And I'm watching and going, I've got evidence of you guys making videos. You were the ones making videos. All these people, you're the ones all year making videos, calling out people like me and Stel. You're the ones making videos telling the world we're going to finish third. You're the ones making videos saying Tell fixes our attack. Solanke's perfect for Ange Ball. Bergval changes Spurs forever. All of these crazy titles. They're the ones now that get invited on TalkSport with Abby Summers. They get invited on Sky Sports. They get invited on all these things, and they're sitting there going, but the problem is it's the ownership, and they've not. Whoa. Hang on. Stel and I were the worst football YouTubers in the world in the summer for saying this. We've been the worst YouTubers for the last 5-10 years, or however long we've been doing this, for saying exactly what all of these people are now saying the moment they get a big platform. It absolutely drives me crazy.
They were putting out tweets saying Tottenham away, they're narcissists, they hate the club, everything they do is to divide us for clicks and likes, their hate towards Ange and Levy, they're agenda driven. 9 months later, they're all repeating what Tottenham away said. Well, hold on a minute. Are you narcissists now? Have you got an agenda? Where no apology. Let's just say what they say, but we'll do it on TalkSport or we'll do it on this channel. And I sit there going, I swear to God, I said that 9 months ago. I'm sure I said that.
Can I tell you the worst person in the Spurs community?
There's loads.
Can I tell you? Just one. Today, there's just one person. Perchy.
Who is it?
Do you know why? Because Perchy today made me the happiest man alive and then squashed it within 60 seconds.
Oh, the fake Sky Sports.
He did an AI image of Sky Sports saying that Ange had been sacked.
Yeah.
I then go, oh, I'm like that. I'm like, boom. And then 2 minutes later, nah, just did it on AI. Perchy, we need words, mate, because that was not cool. That's not cool, man. That's not cool. Let's get to the next question. Savva, I know you probably don't care, but I'm so happy for Nunes. He deserves his goal last night. Ali, I mean, it's not that I don't care. I thought, by the way, I thought what I watched last night, what Jeremy Doku did on the wing. Did you see the goal last night, Stel, for City?
Yeah.
What Jeremy Doku did on the wing last night in that one move, I've not seen a single Spurs winger do all season. He literally dropped his shoulder, took his man, drove in, pulled a great ball across, and they scored. And I went, people keep telling me Doku's shit. If he's shit, what on earth are ours? But listen, big up to you. Let's have a look at some questions. Mike Pepper, by the way, big up Mike, who said, evening all, next protest is against Palace. Make an effort and get there. Ange and Levy must go. The happy people can walk by. We are the real fans. No, you're fair weather fans. The hippie said you're fair weather fans, Mike. Come on.
Big up to Mike, by the way. He came up to me the last two protests. Top bloke. Really good guy. So shout out to Mike.
Yeah, big up to you, Mike. And thank you very much. Very, 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 very generous. Thank you. I appreciate that. Let me just check. I think I've missed another one. Vinny, big up to you. I said, new age fans have low football IQ. Call Rice the best for outshining Bellingham, as if beating an ordinary player like is some great feat. Vinny, I think what we've got to understand is a lot of football fans now feel that they can't have the honest conversation. And what I mean by that is, if I say to an Arsenal fan, I really like Declan Rice, which I do. Yeah, Declan Rice will be the best player at Tottenham Hotspur. Don't know if you agree, Stel. He'd be the best player at our club, right? Declan Rice, good player, very good player. However, if I don't agree with a Arsenal fan that he's world class, they lose their mind. They lose their mind over it. And that's where we're at in 2025, mate. But I do think he bossed Bellingham in both games. I do agree with you, though, by the way. I don't think Bellingham is this be-all and end-all that everyone makes him out to be. But we won't get into a debate about Jude Bellingham right now. But thank you very much, because I actually, as it happens, I have a video coming out on my second channel in 2 days, literally saying, have we overrated Jude Bellingham? Lots of talk about this guy, Stel. Lots of talk. Thank you for the super chat, by the way, Vinny. Lots of talk. He's just guided Burnley up. They conceded. It's ridiculous. 15 goals in 44 games. I get the feeling your answer might be the same as the McKenna one. What's your feelings on Scotty Parker?
Yeah, it's exactly the same. If he can keep Burnley up and keep in the Premier League for a couple of seasons, then we can have the conversation. But until then, Premier League's a different level. We always say this. It's a different ball game. The Premier League is levels above anything below. And that's why most of the teams that come up go straight back down. And it's levels above most European leagues, bar 2 or 3 others. It's a high level of management that's required. It depends what fans want for Spurs. If they want them to get into the top 4 regularly and actually win a trophy, then no, not Scott Parker. No. If they want a manager that would improve us, then yeah, he probably would improve us. But is that what you want?
The sort of guy that I would like to be a number 2 behind a Conte or a Jose. Learn from them for a few years, then take a job. I love Scott Parker. I thought he was a great player. I think he's done really well in his management career. Fair play to him, and good luck to him next season, because you know what? You're not going to be able to keep those clean sheets next season in the Premier League. So let's see what he's got up his sleeve. Big up to Terry O'Shea. Yeah, absolutely, mate. 8 more points, then it's the worst since 1981, since the 3-point per win system came, mate. It's Terry, it's dreadful. Whichever way we want to dish this up, it is absolutely dreadful. By the way, have you noticed, no, not shame on Abby Summers. Abby Summers hasn't done anything wrong to any of us. I've never seen her say anything bad about any of us, if I'm not wrong. Would be nice, though, if you are watching Abby, to get somebody like a me or a Stel on your TalkSport show, rather than the same old people that have flip-flopped their opinions. It would be nice for you to do that. Hey, I'm not speaking for Stel there. I'm just speaking from my own path. It would be nice. The people that have always felt like this about Levy, that have always felt like this about Ange. It'd be nice if those voices could be heard, not the ones that just put out the biggest TikToks. Big up to you.
Fans who aren't fazed by the audience. Fans who aren't fazed by the platform. Fans that don't feel I better put in a good shows to be liked. Fans that are just going to be on there, respectful, but say it exactly as it is. That's what we need on all platforms. That's what we desperately need.
So Matty K having a little pop, is he? Hello, Matty. Hello there. So Savva, why don't you go to protests? 3 reasons I don't go to protest. 1, this fan base with this again. Stel is going to massively disagree with me. I've always tried to say this as respectfully as possible. Hope you know that, Stel. I've always tried. I don't think it does anything. I've not changed my belief on that. I don't think it does anything at all. I think it's too little, too late. I think the owners have built what they've built. They've done it for a reason, and they've got what they built what they wanted to. Half the fan base, 90% of the fan base wanted this. 90% of the fan base were telling us when we were saying that the stadium will change nothing. We're telling us we're negative, we're deluded, yada, yada, yada. 2, Matty, I'm a full-time YouTuber. If I don't do my YouTubes on the games, I don't make I'm just being completely brutally honest here. I don't make as much revenue as I would in a month. Believe it or not, I have a mortgage to pay. I've got food to put on the table, and I have to live. So if I come away every time there's a protest, I lose a lot of money, unfortunately. And I'm not in a position where I can turn around and say, don't worry about that. Hello, wife, who's just walked in. Right. Thirdly, Matty, because the fan base have what they want. Half this fan base, more than that, have what it wants, Matty. We praise shit players. We want to sign players like Tell. We think every young signing is absolutely brilliant and praise them to the hilt. Then when things don't go well, we turn around and go, protest. So I don't know if you want to accept any of those answers, Matty. I've tried to be as honest as possible. Still, you know my answers. We've had this chat before. That's where I'm at. If that makes me a bad fan, I'm a bad fan.
Yeah, that's your reasoning. I disagree with it. You know, I do. The bit I'll agree with is if it's your career and you need to be live and that's how you're paying your bills, then I get it. You do promote the protests. You do put videos out letting people know they exist. That bit I'll agree with you. The rest I disagree on the basis that if we don't get all the fans at these protests, if we don't get all the fans turning that stadium toxic against the owner, then we're never going to move the needle. That's my pushback on it. But let's move it on, man. Let's move it on.
No, absolutely. Look, and absolutely. Just on the point of it being someone's career, I don't think people understand. There are certain shows you do where you tick over, right? there are certain shows you do where you make your most money, right? It's like anything. It's like anything. By the way, Stel, you can back me up here. I'm not lying here. Any YouTuber knows I'm going to do this show tonight because I do it every week, but that's not really a show that gets me many views. It doesn't get me many subs. It doesn't get me much money. Watch-alongs is where I've kind of positioned myself in the last year or two. Okay, so if I stop doing that, Matty, to go to the protests, it costs me money. I'm losing money from not making on YouTube, and it's something that I don't believe works anyway. So big up to you, Matty. But listen, dude, when you were not even that old, I was sitting here talking about how shit this chairman was, and no one wanted to do anything at the time. So it is what it is. And Phil, you are right. Stella and I should have our own show on TalkSport. It would be the most divisive thing ever, wouldn't it? It would be amazing. It would be amazing.
Would end up replacing Cundy and O'Hara.
They'd have to have a full-time moderator to get rid of all the swear words and abusive words that we would be called live. They'd have to do it a minute behind time. That's what they'd have to do. Where are we? Jay Ashraf said, hi, Stel. Would the 5-0 back-to-back thrashings Palace got not concern you about Glasner and his defensive setup against those teams?
They didn't lose 5-0 back-to-back. They lost 5-2 to Man City. They were 2-0 up, and they should have made it 3. I think if they make it 3, that game was over. They didn't. Look, Glasner's not perfect. I've never, ever said he's perfect. And he is a manager that doesn't have the best squad in the league. So he's going to take those hits. They're going to happen. If it happened every week, then yeah, I'd be concerned. He's hit a bit of a sticky patch, but he started off the season sticky, and look where he's now taken Palace. He's got them above Spurs, mid-table in the FA Cup semi-final. With what? A shoestring budget, losing his 2 best players, a lot of players that none of us even would have wanted at Spurs. So we've got to be realistic. These results will happen to teams like him. Results like this have happened to teams like Bournemouth and Brentford as well this season. Yeah. So that's the nature of the club they're at. What we've got to look at is what is he doing with what he's got. He's doing a pretty good job. So no, it doesn't faze me, because I think if he had Spurs' squad with 1 or 2 additions, like a 6 and someone that could control that midfield, I think we're not getting 5-0 results like you've seen at Palace under Glasner. I don't see that happening. So it doesn't concern me, no. If it happened every week or it was a regular thing, then yeah, it would. But it doesn't. It's not regular. He's just hit a bit of a bump in the road with 5 games to go. That's all.
Yeah, do you know what? I found it quite funny. I found it quite funny still that, the moment Palace had those 2 bad games back to back, that we're sitting there and talking about, people going, your boy Glasner Savva. By the way, he's not my boy. He's one of many I would take. By the way, by many, I mean anyone who's a manager that isn't Ange. But he's one of the many I would take. People are like, but look at those results. Have you seen Tottenham Hotspur for the last 2 years? Have you seen how many embarrassing results we've had? You're right. Up until those 2 games still, he had like the 4th best defence in the league and like the best away defence in the country. 2 bad games and we're going, look, he can't do it. We're letting 6 at home to Liverpool, and our fans are singing his name in the stadium. So I just thought that was a bit crazy. Just thought it was a bit crazy.
Can I just answer one question here very quickly from Mark Taylor, who asks, am I full-time YouTube? I'm not a full-time YouTuber, Mark. I'm not. I do it I started Tottenham away with Brian and Shy because no one was prepared to talk about Levy and Enoch, and we were. And then it grew and it grew and it grew, and then people started other channels, and JP joined, and it's just become what it is today. We've got Lee, we've got Maz, Will. So we all work, but we just run the channel between us.
Yeah, but by the way, I think people have got to realise as well, when you do this full time, it's like anything. It's like any job when you've got a target to hit. I know exactly still how many views I need a month. to make X amount of money. I know how many streams I need to do a month to hit that target. I know how many subs I need to grow it so that I go to the next level. And unfortunately, if watch-alongs are a great source. They are. So, and I don't think anyone can begrudge me that. They're not actually paying me out their pocket. It's coming out with YouTube ads. So
I personally couldn't do it full time. I don't know how you and other YouTubers do it, because if I had to go live every day and talk, I'd struggle. I think the only way I could do it is if I had a channel which was a bit like the Big Six, where you've got like multi-football clubs and you did a regular multi-club thing where you're going at each other a bit, then I could do that. But to do it full time, I personally, I don't think I've got it in me. I think I would lose the plot. I think I'd lose it. But others can do it. People like you can do it. You can go live every day. You can talk. You can get guests on and just fair play. If you can do it, do it. I personally can't do it. Well, no, it's not. I can't. I don't want to. I don't want to.
Yeah. Look, let's. I don't know what sort of time you got, Stel. I mean, you've got half an hour. You got to.
Got another 20 minutes. 20 minutes. Okay,
well, let's rattle through some questions then. Before we rattle through them, let's get some super chats. Twan or Twan55.
Anthony.
Thank you very much.
This is Anthony from America.
Which Anthony?
Oh, okay. He looks like bit of Tom Cruise, bit of Poch.
Yeah. I know. Okay, big. I thought that was Anthony Kakaruis. No.
No. This is Anthony from New York.
Okay, big up to you. So Savva Stel, who do you think, he said, not necessarily want, but predict will be our manager next season? If you had a free 1,000 bet on it, who? So not who we'd want, but who we think Spurs will get. With
these owners, God knows.
Yeah.
God knows.
That is half the problem. Maybe a Will Steele. Maybe someone like Will Steele. I don't know. I just don't know. Listen, I can sit here and give you a load of names that I would want. Listen, I think it. I
think it will be another Premier League manager. It'll be a current Premier League manager.
I think the answer to this question, Stel, the more important part of this, Anthony, is going to be who is the director of football. Depending on who the director of football is going to depend on who their contacts are and who they bring in. Right. So I think if it's someone like Paratici, I think you could be looking at someone like a Xavi Hernandez. He's well connected. He's got a lot of names. If it's Lang, if it's Lang and Munn, who knows?
Some people are saying that Vinay is going to replace Munn, and it's Munn that recommended Ange. So if Vinay comes in, because wasn't Vinay one of the people that wanted Arteta at Arsenal? So it could be a case that Vinay is the one that picks. I'm not saying
it could be.
I'm just suggesting that he could be the one that's part of the decision-making process.
So basically, Ryan Mason's going to be our Arteta, is what you're saying. Still, we're gonna put
God
Mason
help
in for a 5-year phased project. Big up to the richest man who said, "This is my Savva join the protest contribution, mate." I can't tell you live. It will sound terrible. I can't tell you how much I would need to make in a contribution fund to not cover a match day. Don't forget, most of our games have been on a Sunday as well. So if I miss the game and the Spurs review, it's a big hit for me. But big up to you. Really appreciate that. A user said, "Did Nuno make us proud?" He made us proud on Monday night, didn't he, old Nuno? Big up to you, a user. Cheeky you. And Andy Lester has come in and said, all the empty seats versus Wolves will both the club. All the empty seats versus Wolves will both the club.
All the empty seats versus Wolves. We're not playing Wolves.
I don't, Andy, what do you mean? Don't put it in a super chat. Tell me what you mean. I'll come back to this. I'll leave this super chat up. We'll come back to this. Sophie, the answer is definitely A. Savva is definitely the answer to this question of Greek people with football knowledge. I'll let Stel go in second and Ange can go in third. Just so you.
I'm going to go for B. I'm going to go for B. Yeah. Stel.
And news in that the Hotspur Hippie has gone for C. Ange, just in case anyone wondered where his loyalties lied. Big up to you, Yash. Big up, Yash. How you doing? I said, serious question from a United supporter. Do you believe you can beat us or Bilbao or with a nearly men gene? That nearly men gene is called Spursiitis, by the way. Or will the nearly men gene kick in? Stel, United, Bilbao, can we beat them in a one-off game?
We can. Yeah, of course we can. Will we? No, we won't.
There you go. For me, I think the problem we've got, Yash, is Bilbao at home in their own grounds. Bilbao are a very well-drilled football team. If you watch them, they don't concede many goals. They've got a brilliant playmaker. For anyone that doesn't watch Spanish football, go and watch him. Sancet, S-A-N-C-E-T. He's got bundles of goals and assists this season. And they've got the one nemesis of Tottenham Hotspur's tactics. They've got wingers that run at people. So I think that'll be tough. Man United, we've beat them 3 times. I feel like they're going to be due one. But hey, who knows? Big up and thank you for your question. Where are we? Phil P put in a question. Just saw that. Phil P said, question, can Stel bring a cardboard cutout of Savva to the next protest? I reckon someone would set that cardboard cutout on fire within about 5 seconds of Stel getting off the tube or getting out the car or whatever.
I'll bring it if Phil P carries it and holds it during the protest. So I'm not attacked. Phil can get attacked.
Yeah. No, big up, man. Yeah, Forrest. Yeah. No, we knew what you meant, but big up and thank you for the super chat. Yeah, listen, I wasn't at the game. Obviously doing a watch along. Everyone was saying it sounded like a morgue. Sounded really, really quiet there, and unfortunately, the fans don't believe in it. Fans can say they want him in, but their match day noise isn't aligning. Let's get to a question here. Jay has said, what's your thoughts on Will Still and Liam Rossigna? They're doing good in France. I feel still, I don't know if you mind me asking, tell me if I'm wrong, I feel like this is going to still be the same answer as the McKenna, Scott Parker type thing. I think Liam Rossigna apparently is getting rave reviews for what he's doing, but I think do it for a bit longer at a high level, then have the conversation. What do you think, Stel?
We're trying to unearth a gem from a league that is insufficient to the levels of the Premier League. The reason it worked with Poch is because he proved himself in the Premier League with Southampton. Everyone knew that Southampton could attack. The style of football was good. I think they finished 6th or 7th that season. Poch showed he had something about him and he was doing it in the Premier League. All these other managers we're talking about, if they come from Europe, they've got to have won something for me. That's why I like Glasner, because he won the Europa Cup with Frankfurt. He won it. And if we're going to look at managers from abroad, if they haven't got something about them that proves they're winners, we're taking a punt again. And I don't want that. I want Spurs to have stability. I want us to have someone that can shore it up. Just bring some stable play, some balance to the club. And I just feel that these Stills and Rosnias and we're taking a chance again, and we can't afford to keep doing this. It's not fair on us fans. So I want someone that's got something about them that's proven. They don't have to be elite. That's why the Iriolas, the Glasners, the Franks, the Silvers, they've proven they can handle it in the Premier League. They're not perfect, but they can handle it.
No, I completely agree with you. I agree with you. Listen, someone's just sent this to me, and this person on Ange on Twitter or X has finalised their top 10 list for the mongrels. And still, I hate to say it, we didn't make the list. I'm going to show everyone the list. Look, so last word on Spurs, apparently the Mongrel 10 YouTube edition. Last word on Spurs, followed by expressions. There you go. Daigle. Brian Daigle and Kiriakou, they made the list at 3. Marlon and Ash made the list in 4. The boy Hotspur made it in at 5. at It's Tottenham. Who's that?
No idea.
No idea who that
I'm
is.
not. I'm not. I'm not. These are Twitter accounts, aren't they?
I don't know. Danny, well done, mate. Well done. You got in at 7th. Very good. In 8th. Oh, the Dan list. Well done, Dan. Both the Dans. I love this. Number 9 is Lubo. Next to it, mate Savva. I love that. Lubo, you know that guy. You know the one who's mates with Savva. And 10 is the trunk. So just a massive congratulations to all of these people for making the top 10 mongrel list. And Stel, we must try harder for next year. Okay, me and you, we've got to try.
Do you know what? I'm so glad I'm not on Twitter. This is why I don't want to be on Twitter, because this is what you got to deal with.
Unbelievable, yeah. I can't believe it. My name was in there. My name associated with Lubo. Big up to that as well. We had another super chat. This is Stephen. Thank you, Stephen, who I believe. Oh, Stephen. Oh, Forest. Are you a Forest fan? Or if you're not, apologies, real apologies. Said a little bit towards the Savva cardboard cutout. Brilliant. So now we're starting a GoFundMe page to get a life-size cutout of me. Brilliant. Thank you very much, Stephen. I really, really appreciate that. We got 10 minutes left, so let's get in and some questions. Where should we go? Where should we go? Here we go. I saw a good question about Solanke that I thought I want to bring up. I can't find it now. Never mind. Spotlight on Spurs. Big up to Luke. How you doing, man? Luke, you must be Ange out by now, Luke. You've got to be, surely. Said, who would be your dream signing this summer?
What, fantasy or realistic? Are we going to be realistic?
Let's be realistic. Otherwise, I can talk about Lionel Messi all day, but let's be realistic. Or Rodri.
And
Mbeumo.
Mbeumo. Yeah, realistic signing. I think he scores goals. He creates goals. He bullies defenders. He holds his position. We won't have all this bollocks that, he doesn't get service. He'll find the service. And Mbeumo.
Yeah. I tell you what, I don't think that's a bad shout. I'd like an Mbeumo, a Matoma. I'd like a Vissa. I'd like Edison from Atalanta. I'm guessing he's going to have bigger suitors than we will, than us. There's loads of players I'd like. Thank you for the question, Luke. Alexandroni has said, everyone is complaining that this Premier League season is the worst in recent memory. What reforms would you pass to make the league more competitive and raise the standard of football? God, there's a question.
Sounds so political. What reforms would you pass?
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
Everyone's complaining this Premier League season is the worst. What reforms would you pass to make the league more? Well, I've always felt that a salary cap would be good for football in general.
Agreed.
I think if that's the one thing I like about American sports, they've got salary caps. If there's a salary cap, it levels the playing field a bit, and it stops players from just going to a club because they're going to get 400 grand a week, whereas Spurs aren't going to pay that. I mean, that's Levy's wet dream as well, isn't it? Man, imagine saying to Levy, we're going to cap how much you spend on salary. He'll probably throw a party. That's right up his street. But that's how I'd make it more competitive. Would it raise the standard of football? I mean, to raise the standard of football, that's down to coaching.
Do you know what I'd say? I'd ban sideways passing if you are in the front three. I'd say wingers aren't allowed to cut in. I'm so bored of seeing wingers get the ball and go, what do I do? Oh, I've got no imagination. 5 yards backwards. Beat your man. But I agree. Wage cap, I think, would be great. Good question here. A super chat from Sanctuary of 7. Big up, my man. Hope you're well. Said, I think you were on the list as Lubo's mate. Listen. We put Lubo on the map, all right? Us YouTubers, we put Lubo on the map, all right? Don't let him take our limelight. Stella and I should be on that list above Lubo. I hope if this person is watching this, it would make my year if I can get in the top 10 of that list. Thank you very much. Big up Sanctuary. And then another super chat here from Artist, who's always very, very generous. I said, Ange lost to Bodo Glimt 5-1 in the Conference League playoff at Celtic. Their current manager, Knutson, was with them then too. Does this worry you two? Just as a side note to this, Stel, why does nobody talk about this manager getting a better job? He's done a bloody fantastic job for years at Bodo Glimt.
I've said it for a few days now. We are seriously underestimating this game. I really feel, you know, I've lost count how many times I've said this. I'll repeat it again. I said back in November, I don't think we'll win the Europa because we're going to come up against that one team that we don't know much about, we don't understand.
Lubo 21. His channel that was in, but I don't know his Twitter, so you were the gatekeeper for him. I made it. Still, I made it in. I made it in at number 9.
You're the gatekeeper.
Lubo's the gatekeeper for me.
So Lubo gets it by association. This is what I was saying to you. That account, I think he's going after Twitter accounts. We're not on Twitter. That's why we're not on it. If we're on Twitter, we'd be number 1 and 2. Yeah, so I was saying...
Oh, brilliant.
So happy you're on the list. Yeah. I said back in November, we're going to come up against that one team we don't know much about. We don't know much about their players, their manager, and we're going to play them. And even when it looks like we've won the tie, they're going to stun us, and we're going to come out of the game saying, "What the fuck just happened?" And I've said I don't know who that's going to be, whether it will be in the semis, the quarter, the final. It's going to happen. I'm telling people watching, I've got a bad feeling about this Bodo Glimt game. I really think this could be that game. And that second leg stinks of dodginess. It reeks of chaos. And I don't like chaos with Spurs. So, listen, let's say we beat Bodo Glimt 3-0 in the first leg. Everyone's going to say, job done. Not me. Not me. I'm not saying job done. Because
if we get to 3-0, I'll be
You will. I know you will. But most fans will, because logically, that's the right thing to say. Why would you not think that? It's Bodo.
Yeah.
I don't trust this tie. I really, really don't. They aren't good on the road. They've got a good goalie. And if he can keep them in the tie, that second leg with their players back, I don't like it. I don't like it at all. And you know what? Only having 400 away fans is terrible as well. So, look, we'll see what happens. It could be Spurs knock them out 7-1 on aggregate. Stel, shut up. Or we're in for a really Spursy tie, a really Spursy moment.
From this question, when it says, does this worry me? I'll be honest, I'm worried about whoever we play, right? Now, that doesn't mean every game I'm going to predict we lose. But I worry that anytime we play somebody, that Spurs have got the Spurs gene in them, as someone said. We've got the bozo gene in us as a football club, Artists. This is the problem we have. Look, I mean, if Ange gets knocked out to Bodo Glimt, that would kind of sum up his tenure at Tottenham for 2 years, wouldn't it? Got knocked out by Bodo Glimt, out of every other single cup competition, 16th, 17th in the league, record number of defeats, record low number of points, record number of defeats at home. It all goes hand in hand. But somebody at some point needs to look at this manager, because he's done a bloody good job with this football club for years now. And I think somebody across Europe should give this guy a chance. Maybe he's happy there, but you know what I mean?
Listen, in 2004, I'll never forget this because I was there. Greece won the Euros. Against all the odds, they were 2,500 to 1 to win it. And before the tournament started on BBC, they asked Arsene Wenger, who's your outside favourites? Who do you think might trouble the competition? And he said, watch out for Greece. And everyone looked at him, like, what? He goes, their manager, Otto Rehhagel, I played against him when we were both in France. He's the only manager that beat me. He knows what he's doing. This guy knows Ange. This Bodo manager knows Ange. And let's not underestimate this. I'm not trying to inflate it more than what it is, but people that suss out Ange tend to get his number on the day. And if this guy knows Ange, he knows how we're going to play, and he watches some videos of how we are now as well, Bodo will have done their homework. Whether they can pull it off is a different story, right? Having a plan and executing it are two different things, but it does help when you know what you're up against, and he does know. We don't know what we're up against with Bodo. Ange might think he knows because he's played them as well, but he didn't do well when he was up against them. So let's see. Spurs are the favourites, though. We are no doubt the favourites to win this tie.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And listen, the last question. Sorry, by the way, there were so many today. So thank you very much, everyone, because there was so many. I genuinely thought when I set up the show that we'd get maybe 10, 15 a show, but we get like 60 to 70. Where is it? I wanted to bring this up. By the way, Phil P, who said, Savva name checked at 9th. Where are the standards? Phil, Spurs are currently 16th. If I'm 9th, I'm doing something all right, bro. All right? I'm doing something okay in the mongrel list.
If we win the first leg 3-0, Phil's going to be rounding up Spurs fans to all chip in to hire a minibus to drive to Bilbao. Mark my words. Phil will be...
I'm in it.
Right,
I'm going.
3-0. Lads, we've done it. We're in the final. Let's all chip in. We can hire a minibus. We're going to drive to Bilbao. You know, we're going. We're going to the final. That's what's going to happen.
Does it when Phil goes on away European games, does he take his British passport or his Greek passport? Which one do you take, Phil? Let me know. Phil?
Listen, as long as he doesn't drink and drive on cider, because he does love a tipple, I don't care. Don't let Phil drive. Don't let Phil drive.
Let's have a look. No Lubo, no list, no party. Let's have a look at the last question I wanted to answer. And by the way, smash the likes, guys. You've been terrible at that today. Savva and Stel, do you think if we had a proper coach like Eddie Howe, do you think we will be a top 4 team? I can answer this very quickly. I can't guarantee we'd be a top 4 team. What I can guarantee is we'd be in the mix with that top 5, 6, 7 for those positions. And he would have upskilled a lot of players in 2 years, given us an identity, made us hard to beat, shown tactical flexibility. And I'm guessing that most of our fan base would be in line with each other and somewhat happy. The complete opposite to what Angepostecoglou has done. That's my answer.
Yeah, I fully agree. Exactly the same answer.
I think this is the key thing.
That's the reality of it.
Ness, this is the key thing. The key thing for me is if you look at Newcastle, you look at the number of players that were there when he joined and in relegation battles. Those players now, people like Jacob Murphy doing what he's doing this season. People like Fabian Schär. People like Willock. Yeah, people like Longstaff, right? Look how he's upskilled Gordon. Look at Harvey Barnes, the form that man's in. Look what he did to Joe Linton from a failed striker to a powerhouse midfielder. Look what he's done with Livramento and Hall. This is a man's man. This is a man-to-man manager that gets the best out of his club. The fans all love him. He brings unity, togetherness. And you know what? I'll end it on this, Stel. You ever seen an interview with Eddie Howe where you think, shut up, you idiot? I've never seen it. I've never seen anything about him where you go, you're not likable. I think he's honest. I like him.
Yeah, no, he's genuine. He's a genuine manager. He's got a lot of goodness about him. Also, look what he's done for the city of Newcastle. Look at the celebrations for winning that trophy, what he's given, the memories he's given those fans. When's the last time we had memories like that? When's the last time we had that as a fan base? So he's given that to them.
Yeah, absolutely. Just really quickly, Jack's come in with a super chat, and then we will end after this. So, Jack Spurs, thank you very much. Really appreciate you, my friend. I said, what formation would you want next season? Opinion? It all depends on the manager, right, Jack? I mean, if it's Glasner, we're going to go wing backs, and I've got no problem with that with the players we've got. If it's not, if it was a Frank, a Silva, and Iriola, we're probably going to go with a back 4-4-2-3-1, something like that. But I quite like the wing backs if you've got good wing backs, which we have. So?
It depends what players we've got for me. Depends who the players are. If it's the current crop of players, I would play a 3-5-2 or a 4-4-2. But again, it depends what players we get, because I don't think we've got the players to play all systems. I don't think we've got the quality. Especially the midfield concerns me. We've got a very unbalanced midfield that doesn't control games, and we are seriously lacking in that 6. And I don't think playing with a front 3 suits Spurs, because I actually think the front 3 is one of the weakest parts of the whole club. There's no one player in the front 3 who I get an exit count, then I can at you. You're both all right. Thank you, mate.
We're both gutless. I love this. We're both gutless. Big Ange, welcome, Big Ange. Thank you for making an appearance. It's good to know that you were watching. Or
yeah, exactly. Exactly. Thanks for watching. It makes you laugh, doesn't it? It makes you laugh. Yeah, it depends. It depends who our players are, because I don't want a front 3. That's all I know. I don't want a front 3 with the current crop of players we've got. It doesn't work for me. I don't like it. I think it takes numbers out of the midfield, and I think that we don't have enough goal scorers to be playing a front 3.
No, I agree. Terry San. Okay. Big up, everyone. Listen, thank you very much. Look, at the end of the day, we all want what's best for Spurs. We'll see what we can do as a club. Listen, for the fans, I really want Spurs to win the Europa League. For the manager, I just don't care. Stel, thank you very much. Really appreciate you. When can everybody find you on next? When are you going to go live?
I think Mari's live tonight or tomorrow, I think, doing his North London is ours. And then we're back on Sunday when 10,000 YouTube channels do a watch along. And then we've got a post-match show late at night. So come join us. Come join Savva. Come join whoever you want to watch whenever.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, absolutely. Big up to each and every one of you. I'll be back tomorrow morning at 10 a.m. Celebrating that Spurs are going to be involved in the title in the title race this Sunday. We're going to be right there, right at the front queue for the party.
What's your prediction for that game, by the way?
I think we'll get absolutely hammered. They're gonna be in party mode. They're gonna. For me, I think if they get one early on, it could be a long day. Their fans are gonna be right up for it, and they're gonna win the title.
What would you do as Ange? Okay, so if you go strong, you risk a bit of fatigue and maybe an injury or a suspension to a player you want on Thursday night in Europe. If you go weak, you're opening the floodgates to getting absolutely tonked 6, 7, 8, like battered, which is disastrous for morale, confidence, the negativity around the club. So what do you do with this game? How would you approach it?
Mate, do you know what? It's the same thing I would have done with the Forest game, right? For me, I think you go full strength. You get the minutes in their legs. Yeah. And I think you play how you're going to play in the next game. I just think there's too much chopping and changing. You have a really good result against Frankfurt, then we make 5 or 6 changes. It's like, for me, I want to see a bit of consistency. I want to see some consistency in the team. Look, Liverpool could batter anyone on their day. But, at the same time, we don't want a completely embarrassing performance still where we're going into Europa League semi-final off the back of a 5 or 6-0 hammering because we've put out a really, really weak team. I think they're going to be in party mode. I genuinely do think they're going to be in party mode. We can't keep making 5, 6 changes. We can't keep doing it. You've got to have some consistency. For me, we've waited all year still. We've been told all year when these players come back. Now these players have come back. We're talking about, I'd rest him. I'd rotate him. Jesus, put your 11 out there. Get them playing together. Let them build some form of momentum. That's only my opinion.
Yeah, I don't know what to do with this game. Part of me says, do you know what? Just throw the game. Who gives a shit? Focus midweek. But the other part of me says you just can't go into games losing all the time because that's not good. And players do need some game time to be ready for the next game as well. I am a believer of momentum. So I think we're damned if we do, we're damned if we don't in this game. This is probably one of the worst games we could have asked for this weekend.
The whole scenario around it with Liverpool winning the league title if they win it, for me, it's just so Spursy. It's Spursy. This opportunity, but by the way, that only happens if Arsenal win tonight, right?
Are Arsenal playing tonight, are they?
Yeah, Arsenal got Palace. I think they'll have enough for Palace at home, if we're brutally honest. So, you know.
I didn't realise there was Premier League games tonight.
Yeah. But guys,
why? Oh, right. It's because there's FA Cup this weekend.
Yeah, FA Cup this weekend.
That's why City played last night. Makes sense. Okay.
People asking if there was going to be a watch along tonight on Big Up for Arsenal Palace. I need to do a few bits. I need a night to myself. If I'm brutally honest, I can't. So I've cancelled that. I'm sure you can all watch it in the comfort of your own homes without me. Listen, please go and subscribe to Stel at Tottenham Away. Guys and girls, we are finishing 2 subscribers off of 17,400. Just two. So please get over there, smash that subscribe button. The link is pinned. Let's just look at the results of the poll we did. So we've had 511 votes. The question was, how many games will Spurs lose in the Premier League this season? 18, 19 to 20, or 21 plus. 5% said 18, 36% said 19 to 20, and 60% said 21 games plus. So 60% think we're going to lose another 3 games. Still, thank you very much. Really appreciate you. Take care, everyone. And as always, Ange out. See you later.